guys. I'm Kylie Montini, the host of the Talk Cafe podcast. I hope everyone is enjoying their day, and the Talk Cafe is welcome Nesha Pai. More about Nesha, she's a CPA, business owner, author, and keynote speaker with a passion for numbers and a heart for courageous business. She guides women into their power personally and professionally. Though her own lived experiences and resources how that she helped many women and a couple of few men, to be honest with you, but rediscover their passion to face the pivotal changes necessary to live their dreams. And she opened her accounting firm, CPA,
Pai CPA.
and made it her mission to empower women through hiring. Due to its fully remote office structure, she was able to give employment opportunities to mostly stay-at-home moms, which is so amazing. And she has great pride in owning a business that supports women and empowers business owners in their finances. And fully in in her book, Overcoming Ordinary Obstacles, which won the multiple non-fiction category at the American Book Fest that same year. And she is kind of empowered by her own story and has inspired the stories of others. And Nesha has continued to expand her enterprise and reach, leading to where she is today is the host of the Piece of the Pay. And she's an impactful leader and keynote speaker who guides others to step into their power, reign, trust the process, and live of their life with their dreams. We're going to be diving into so many things like during today's episode, like rediscovering your passion. Welcome to the podcast, Nesha. I'm so excited to have you on today. I know that was a little kind of like a longer, intro, but I'm super happy.
Thank you for that amazing intro and for having me on your amazing podcast, Kylie. I'm excited to be here.
Me too. I'm super excited to have you on. It is so nice to meet you as well. But when you started like your business, like were there like any kind of struggles in hiring people? Of course, when you start a new business, there are always struggles in finding people and also growing the business as well.
That is such a great question. And I am 12 years into owning my business and still struggling with hiring, Kylie. I think that even then, because I was looking for stay-at-home moms, I had to go into places that stay-at-home moms would be, right? I would go into Facebook groups that had moms. I would ask all my mom friends, like, do you know anybody that's a bookkeeper and that can work from home? And, even today, a lot of people are leaving the accounting profession. Mm-hmm. And, after the pandemic, people are leaving the workforce, right? You're seeing people leave. And it has been a struggle. It's a challenge to find not only good people, but stay-at-home moms that are able to do both taking care of their family and wanting to have a job on the side.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, especially after the pandemic, like a lot of people really just like wanted to transition from going into the office to stay into being online and being working at home and staying at home with their kids. But it's also like the pandemic kind of really taught people that why do I need to work? Like a lot of people were laid off during the pandemic because of businesses being open and people want to go to work and don't want to go work and back in person. Like it really was a big drop than it was previous years with having people work in person, and really it kind of made them really overlook about like, oh, do I actually need a job? Like I'm gonna rely on my husband or life to really just get the money.
Yeah.
24/7.
Yeah, you're spot on. A lot of people decided, and women even decided to take a break, and they're like, not necessarily working right now, or they want to more focus on their families and whatnot. So it is a little bit of a struggle, but I've managed to make it work. And if anyone's listening and they're a bookkeeper and they want to work from home, I am hiring.
Everyone go check it out. When they say hi, when I know when most people say you're hiring or when say you're hiring, we're like, oh my gosh, I need a job. And I'm definitely go check this out. Because I know for me
Yeah, yeah.
personally, if someone says they're hiring, I'm like really just already typing when the person already said it. So I know people will definitely check it out. But why is empowering women important to you when hiring?
That is another great question, Kylie. I feel that women already have a disadvantage in the workforce, right? And just systematically, men have always been leading, right? You see a lot of men in the C-suite. You don't see a lot of women in the C-suite. You see a lot of men starting businesses. And I want to make sure that women, we have equality. We have equality, and that women get their rightful place here, right? So I encourage women because women have been the underdog, right? For in society, it's just the way it is. And we're starting to see more women rise up into the CEO level and the C-suite. And we're also seeing more women start businesses. And so I want to support that because traditionally, Kylie, women have not gotten that kind of support.
100%. Because like when you
Yeah.
see, for example, the Barbie movie, I don't know if you've seen it, but it came out
I
earlier.
love the Barbie movie.
It's
Yes.
amazing. It's the movie's awesome. I've seen it twice and it never gets any boring than it is. But well, I'm not saying it's boring. That's not what I meant, but it's like it's not boring. But it's like when you see a movie like Barbie, for example, with people like with being a full woman government, female CEOs, women reporters, like stuff like that, it's like it seems like, especially with that movie, that there's progress with people being women CEOs or even women reporters or people in public office. Like it seems with that movie, the progress will be made. And I know with that movie, it will really just kind of impact young girls and women, especially to really just go into those type of roles and really become a CEO and will kind of pave the way for other women as well that are growing up.
Yeah, I mean, great recap. That movie was very powerful, right?
Mhm.
And it came at such a time in our lives that the message was very clear that
Mhm.
women are now coming up,
Mhm.
right? And I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah, definitely. It's honestly like it was probably, to be quite honest with you, like it was probably one of the best movies and empowering movies that I think I ever saw in a long time. Like it really was so empowering, and it's like you don't see a lot of movies like that in 2023. There's not
No,
that much movies
did
like.
your friends like that movie as well in your
Yeah.
age group? Yeah, that's
hmm
awesome.
But like, how do you think doing remote work instead of in person kind of has helped you and your employees kind of be present in their lives, like doing things every single day, being around their families? Like, how do you think it has helped you and your employees every single day?
That was such a great question too. I've never been asked that. And I thought, man, that's a brilliant question. Um, Remote work, which I started 12 years ago, and actually I had male colleagues here in Charlotte kind of make fun of me, right? They didn't understand the model. They thought it was weird. And I think the pandemic really changed all of that, right?
100%.
And even when I started it 12 years ago, um, what it allowed women to do is have dedicated work time that
Mm-hmm.
they could walk across the hallway to their computer and they could still be there, do their work, log off, and be there for their kids when they got off the bus, right? Or go pick them up from school and come home. And then after the kids were in bed, can come back across the hallway, back to their computer, log on, and continue working. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that because women are we're automatically multitasking. We're born that way.
Mm-hmm.
And women do it well. And I feel that a woman can do all those things and be really good at it and focus on each of the things she needs to focus on when she needs to focus on it. Right. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's been a game changer for me. And me myself, I'll roll out of bed at 8 a.m. sometimes, Kylie, and walk across to my office, the hall, across the hall in my pajamas.
I'm the
You
same
know?
way because I do school online. So like once a couple minutes before the class starts, my alarm goes off and I move over, still my pajamas, never
Kylie, we don't
wearing it,
have to
and got my
like take
computer.
showers, get ready, and be in traffic, right? So
Mhm,
in a way, we're more efficient, right? We're more
mhm.
efficient than the person that has to do that. So that's the way I look at it.
Yeah, because like I don't know why, but we're doing work online, whether it's like the podcast or my organization or homework or doing something for my job. Like it's honestly just refreshing when you just feel like, oh, I think I need a break from this assignment, or I think I need a break from this thing I'm working on for work. Like I can use the assignment I'm doing in class and like that to do, let's just say next week and get it done and do my multitasking. Because knowing me, I'm always last minute. So I was like, might as well do something, that get ahead of myself and don't have to worry. But then that's the key of multitasking is that like whenever you don't want to do work at the moment, I just go downstairs and do what I need to do. It's like it's much easier to kind of turn the lights off and on your computer and really just focus on different things, especially if we're doing work online. It's much easier to kind of, I'll say, just get distracted is also a big key to kind of work online is that you just get distracted so easily. I don't know if I don't know if other people get that as well, but I get that so many times. I can literally just there's so many times I've get like distracted on things, but it's like it's also rewarding being able to just work online and do things online when you're
Right. Especially if you can
focused.
get yourself to be disciplined, right? I mean, I
Mhm,
think we all get distracted at points, but then when you know you're getting distracted, you take a break, right? And you walk away, and then you come back and you're like, okay, I can focus now. That's the
mhm.
beauty.
It
Yeah.
really is. And like, what are some ways like you kind of manage to keep track of your remote team?
Another great question. I just think all your questions are stellar here. We have software, right? We have meetings monthly, or sorry, weekly on Zoom. We have a software that is a workflow software, so it keeps track of everybody's tasks, and what everybody's doing. And I can look into the software and see what everybody's working on. We have time sheets where people have to put in their time, and then having the weekly meetings keeps us connected, right? So we're
Mhm,
checking in every week. And I think that's a big thing that a
mhm,
lot of big companies miss is they don't do a good job of checking in with the team on a weekly basis, right?
mhm,
Or
yeah.
um, they don't have the right software to keep everybody connected, right? So we even have like an internal way of um, direct messaging each other throughout the day. And so we're constantly communicating.
Definitely. It's
Yeah.
like that's the key
Yeah.
about like running an online business is that like and what people mostly remote is that like the most important thing, I'm sure for you as well, is really just staying connected with other people. Whether it's like your work is hybrid, like you sometimes go work in person at some points, and then sometimes you work online and doing some things online. Like I kind of do my job is I sometimes go in person and I do stuff online, which is also amazing. Kind of do things kind of on my time, but also going into work at some points. But it's like when you have that like time management, having people check up and really just be like, "Hey, what have you done this week? Like, didn't do anything?" Like, which sometimes makes me up put on the spot a little bit if I've never done anything. Like, of course, but
Yeah.
it's also rewarding to kind of be able to really just like be able to stay connected with your team is also one of the most important things I know for me is that if you stay connected to your team, like who knows if you're actually doing the work 24/7, like for this company?
Well, and the thing is that's important, Kylie, is not if they're stuck to their desk 24/7. It is, are you getting the results that you need, right?
Mm,
So if they're good at their job, they're efficient. I don't care if they spend an hour doing their work or they spend 5 hours. It's like, are you doing the work on time? Are you getting the results that you need?
mhm,
And too many bosses and employers are stuck on, are you at your desk from 9 to 5? That's not what it should be. It should be, are you getting the work done in the time that you're supposed to get it done? That's it.
Oh, absolutely. You're like,
Yeah.
it's like no matter of like who. So like, I know with some jobs, like not a lot of jobs do 9 to 5. Because I'm like, some people are can be like, okay, well, you need to say your that's 9 to 5. If you got this project done, you need to work on these things that
Right.
may
Right.
or may not be assigned. And sometimes
Right.
when you get those like that project done, it's a matter of, okay, what can I do to change it, or what can I do to make it better? Like it all depends on the project, but it's all sometimes can be the certain job that can really just, I don't know how to describe it, but it's like it would kind of pressure you to stay at your desk all day, even though you might get those projects finished. Or it can be so long, like sitting at your desk so long that you're just ready to punch a wall. Like it can be
Right.
distracting and painful at points. They sing at your desk
Right.
for so many hours a day.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. You're absolutely right.
But like, how can we overcome ordinary obstacles to be extraordinary? Like, I honestly don't know why I started with that word, but extraordinary.
Extraordinary. It's it's a
Um,
tricky word, and you know that is the title of my book. So thank you for bringing that up. And my book is about my journey as a first generation Indian woman born and raised in the South, and sort of the struggles that I went through. And I talk about so many ordinary obstacles that we go through as humans. You know, getting fired at a job, getting divorced, having a baby, um, starting a business, you know, finding our spiritual path, and the different things that we go through as humans. And I wrote the book to be able to connect with humans of all ages, backgrounds, genders, to prove that as humans, we all go through the same things, right? The same struggles, and they may not even be the same all the time. But you know, I didn't go through anything crazy extraordinary, right? I didn't have something like a terminal illness or have to deal with something super tragic. The things that I have faced have been ordinary, meaning anybody and most people go through a lot of what I went through.
mhm.
And so a lot of it comes with believing in yourself, resilience, you know, being resilient, and really going for your dreams no
Mhm.
matter what comes your way, right? Like a lot of people give up, Kylie, and the biggest message in what I have to say is never, no matter what, give up on yourself.
Oh,
Never,
100%.
right?
Mhm.
And that's the biggest part. Believe in yourself first of all, and never give up on yourself.
Yeah, I love that because I know like when people like do their work or working on something important they've been doing for years and they're about to like, give up on this position, whether it's like a middle pandemic when they lost their job or getting
Right.
divorced or being a single parent, like with those responsibilities, it can be draining and you might not be
Yes.
like, okay, well, I don't know how I'm gonna do this alone. Like, I don't have a job. I can't live if I don't have any money or getting paid. Like, what am I gonna do? Like, trust me, I really like sometimes think that every single day. Like, I really think about those things. But it's like, I know a 17-year-old shouldn't probably think about those things, but I actually do. So it's like,
You've
but
got your own set of issues, I'm sure, your own set of 17-year-old problems, and everybody does, right? We all do. It doesn't matter what age we are. We all have our own set of issues and problems and concerns. And um, where you stop living is when you give up.
oh, definitely. It's that like
Yeah.
sometimes like I had those moments where I want to give up. Like recently,
And
like
we all do,
I was
right? Yeah.
like, been like thinking to myself like I'm just ready to give up. Like I'm dealing with a bunch of things in my personal life, school, work. Like what am I gonna do with my life if I'm so busy and also dealing with my personal life and my health at the same time? But also like it's a matter of being not transparent, but it's like also trying to manage your work and also taking your time for yourself is what I
Yes.
had to learn. It's not like when you're dealing with health problems, like I may or may not be dealing with right now, like I mentioned to you earlier, but it's like it can be emotionally draining, but also you want to get that work done at the same time, and not being being able to get the things off of your checklist. Because I don't know if it's good for like the same way for you as well and others, but when I get that thing checked off my list that I have to do, it really feels honestly so good. Like it's like, okay, I got that thing done today. What else can I do today to get off that list? Like this honestly feels so good, but it's a matter of really just being present and making sure, like, okay, what do I need to do to make sure I'm not mostly drained or ready to give up at this point?
Yeah, I love that. You are so beyond your years. Really taking care of yourself, right? Taking care of yourself first. So that you don't get to the point where you hit a wall or you decide you want to give up. It's like being aware that you're having these feelings and then taking a step back, because at the end of the day, Kylie, no one ever wants to give up,
Mm-hmm.
right? No one wants to really give up, but you've got to manage your thoughts, your emotions, how you're feeling, and honor that.
Absolutely. And I know
Yeah.
like when you mentioned earlier, like you grew up in the South, you're dealing with stuff growing up. Like how did you kind of, deal with sexism and mental health growing up in the South?
Oh gosh, I grew up in the 70s in East Tennessee in a very small town. Not many people of color there, Kylie. And so I was different, right? I was different. I wasn't blonde hair and blue eyed. And it played a lot on my mental health. And I carried a lot of feelings throughout my life where I didn't feel good enough.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't feel pretty enough. I didn't feel tall enough. I'm sure, I didn't feel all these things. And it really wasn't until I got into my adulthood, after dealing with different bouts of sexism and racism, that I realized that I could only control me,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I couldn't control how other people treated me, right? That's true for everybody. So if we can only control ourselves, it's how do we respond to all those things that happen to us? And so when I started taking control of how I responded, it changed my mental health, right? I
Mm-hmm.
went from feeling like a victim to a victor. I'm victorious. I am not a victim.
I
And
seriously
that's
like love what you said because of course like when you get bullied from like especially in the South, like I know that people can be, serious in terms of what they look like and what kind of or what they are. Like it can be honestly very, hard to be able to hear those people judge you for what you are and what you look like. But it's like you're not gonna be able to control what you're like or well you control like how you are, but it's like
yes.
you can't control what you were born into and what you look like. Because that's like you're
Yes.
born to that. Like it's of course of being like you just sometimes I know that a lot of people including me like we're self-conscious about how they look, yeah, but also like you need to find a way to be able to love yourself, but also not being um upset when people judge you, even though they probably have nothing better to do in their lives. But also that's something I'm still working on as 17-year-old. I'm not perfect, even though I might be doing, a bunch of workload in my life at 17 years old, but it's like it's something that I'm dealing with at 17 years old, but I'm not gonna be afraid to really just speak out about it. Be like, okay, well, people are bullying me because I am doing a podcast, for example. Like, who knows? They can be
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
bullying you for many things. But
I
it's
think
like
that's
it can be
amazing.
very hard to really just deal with so many things like bullying and just really just feel yourself, especially.
Yeah. And I know bullying's gotten worse in this next generation. And, you know, Kylie, like what's important is that we understand that when a bully is a bully, it's a reflection of what's going on inside of them, right? It's a reflection, like hurt people hurt people. And I
Hmm.
don't know if you've heard that term,
Hmm.
but when someone is hurt, they will hurt other people.
Hmm.
And so you almost have to come at it from a point of compassion and feeling sorry for them, but also having a boundary and saying, you're not going to hurt me
Hmm.
and you're not going to bully. But kudos to you, because I know it's not easy, and it's not easy being in your generation in today's age with social media and all the different things that you're exposed to.
Oh, 100%. But also, like, before we head up, I know we're running out of time a little bit, but
Yeah.
in overcoming ordinary obstacles, boldly claiming the facets of an extraordinary life, you discover how faith, forgiveness, and resilience and an impeccable sense of style can turn obstacles into opportunities, from overcoming racism and sexism to creating your own identity and building a business. With being the first generation American is a prime example of creating the life you want. But how did like your style, like your kind of like how did your style turn you want to go through an opportunity?
So great question also. I love fashion, but beyond fashion, the external, I realize that we all have our own sense of style. And that is not only how we dress, but our personality, who we want to be in this
Mm-hmm.
world. How do we want to show up in this world? And so I started loving who I was. I love that I'm brown, I'm short. All the things that I hated about myself,
Mm-hmm.
I ended up turning around and loving. And in that, created opportunities from that and started looking at who I was as a positive, right? It's a differentiator. See, we focus on wanting to look like everybody else or be like everybody else, but we need to find what makes us unique.
Mm-hmm.
And once you do that, opportunities, you'll see opportunities.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Because like, especially if you're self-conscious about yourself, like especially if let's for say like you were short and you wish you were tall. Like I'm literally the shortest person ever, and I wish I was tall. Like
You
I
might not be
swear.
shorter than me.
But it's like even with coming from people that are short in my family, like it's nothing bad about being short, because some people that are tall wish they can be short. It's like it's not a bad thing to be short, because it might be, self-conscious about being short, but it's also not a bad thing to be short, because this being short is honestly unique, because not a lot because sometimes tall people want to be short,
They
but not
do.
it's
Now,
it all
Kylie,
depends.
I am not athletic. The only athletic thing I ever did was play basketball in the fourth grade. And I got benched during the finals. It was the one time my parents came to watch, and I got benched the whole game because I'm short. And it was something that defined me for a long time, right? But those are the moments, I think, as kids, that we define ourselves. Yet that was the problem of the coach, not me, right?
Mhm.
The coach made that mistake. It wasn't a reflection on me.
Yeah, it's nothing on you. Like nothing about being short is not your fault. Like it's like
Right.
if you're playing a sport like basketball, and mostly people in basketball are tall. Like it's really like
Yeah.
mostly people are tall in basketball. It doesn't make you, even if you're short and playing basketball, it doesn't mean that you are a bad player just because you're short. It doesn't mean anything.
Right.
As long as you're playing and trying, that's the most
Right.
important thing.
Yeah.
But I want to thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Again, thank you
Thank
everyone for
you.
seriously listening. This was so fun to be able to film this episode. I've been looking forward to film this episode for a while, so I'm super excited. Yeah, being able to film this episode. I hope everyone enjoyed this episode, and maybe we'll do a part 2 soon. Who knows? But I loved chatting with you, and I really appreciate you taking the time, and everything you're doing is seriously awesome.
Well, I appreciate you taking a chance on me. I'm like, I need to have you on my podcast because you're just amazing. You'd be the youngest genius I would have on my podcast. And I just appreciate you so much, and just really having the courage to speak to me, a stranger, and with your hospitality and your graciousness. So thank you.
Of course. I would definitely love to be on your podcast, by the way. So we have to set that up there for sure. But I love to be on it. And thank you everyone for listening. And thank you so much for taking the time. I really appreciate it. And I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. You too.
Of course. Talk to you soon. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.